Okay. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Be Free with JDB, where on this lovely sunny day, we're being joined by one of my Be Free coaching clients, Beth. I'm really excited about this. So I just wanted to say before we get started, whether you're watching this on YouTube or you're listening on Spotify, just thank you for joining and being part of this conversation. And if you are listening on either, to be honest, just don't forget to give it a like and a subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes, but it really helps increase the channel's engagement as well, so I can help more people. So yeah, like I said, today being joined by Beth, and we're going to talk about her past experiences a little bit, the program, progress, obviously, and yeah, just hear what she has to say about everything, really. So yeah, let's get started. Beth, would you mind, just introducing yourself a little bit and, just tell everybody listening or watching just a little bit about you?
Sure. I'm Bethan. Everyone calls me Beth. I live in South Wales with my husband and our three fur babies. I'm a specialist teacher of the deaf in a mainstream high school in Cardiff. Um, and yeah, so I'm 48 years old. And obviously, as you get older, things into your body. When I was younger, and I guess to a certain extent, even now, I could just eat whatever I wanted.
Mm.
I am a sugar fiend. I take after my paternal grandmother. I absolutely love chocolate and sweets and biscuits and cakes and things like that and puddings. But people would be like, "Well, how can you eat so much, Beth, and just stay skinny?" I guess I always thought it was because I'm. I thought I had like a high metabolism or something, or it was just in my genes. And I'm also quite, my mind never stops. So I think maybe it's nervous energy, all those different things. And I remember someone telling me when I was 25 and working in an office that, because I had a Mars bar every day, this guy used to come and sell sandwiches. And she'd said, Beth, by the time you're 50, you're going to be the size of a house. And I'm almost 50 and I'm not. So there must have been something working genetically. But obviously, as you get older and your hormones start to change and everything,
Yeah.
I guess that I'm sort of starting to approach perimenopause. You start to notice that flab develops in areas that weren't there before. And I mean, when I say flab, it's nothing terrible in comparison to what some people struggle with, but it was something that I noticed, and it was
Mhm.
the tops of my thighs and my belly, and that was about it really, I suppose. But yeah, it was sort of like in that middle section. And I remember one time looking in the mirror and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm turning into a pear shape, and I didn't like it. I'm not saying that it's bad to be pear shaped, it's not, but for me, I didn't particularly like it. So along the way, I have tried sort of doing calorie controlled on my own, and I really struggled with that. What would happen was I would in my notebook write down what I was eating and how many calories, and it was just calories. It was no macronutrients, nothing like that. And I'd go well for a few days, and then I would have a binge because I was absolutely starving.
Yeah.
Feel really guilty, and then I would start again, and then in the end, I just gave up. And then a year or two ago, I saw an advert that came up. I think it was on Facebook or maybe YouTube for this guy who's based in America, and I can't even remember the name of it now.
Mm.
I up to it, and I paid for like the most basic program. And they sent you like the recipes for the meals, and they weren't enjoyable at all. I remember there was this one which was not like a Caesar salad, and I love Caesar salads, but you had to get like this skinny Caesar sauce with it, and it just wasn't nice, and it turned my stomach. And I was good with it for about 2 weeks, and then again I quit that, and then eventually. I guess I kind of thought, well, I don't have the time. I don't have, I work really hard. I have family. I have my job, I have my social life. This is probably something I'm going to have to concentrate on when I retire, or I go down to part time. And then there's a part of you that's like, well, I quite like that thought because it means I can carry on eating all the things I like to eat.
Mhm.
I won't be retiring until like about 18 years in the future, 17 years in the future. And then I joined LinkedIn, and I can't remember how we met on LinkedIn because I'm one of those people. If anyone sends me like, "Would you like to be linked up with me?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not? Let's just see
Mm. We
out."
connected in some way, didn't we? And I obviously, like, I used to be a teacher, so
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I was on LinkedIn. Yeah.
and you worked in Wales, so
Yes.
and then, oh, and then you kind of sent me a private message, and it kind of just went from there.
Mm.
And here we are.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, for reference for everyone listening as well, that was back in October, wasn't it? So obviously, like we've been working together for, well, like near enough 6 months. I mean, it must be somewhere, something like that. So I know that you've mentioned that, you kind of like wanted to get started with something. And I know that we've had this conversation before that anything you've tried before you just didn't find sustainable. I mean, you just said there like you could stick for it for like a couple of weeks or something, and then obviously you weren't enjoying foods. I think that's been like a massive, massive thing for you is actually like obviously achieving so many amazing goals that we're going to come on to, but actually enjoying your food and nutrition again, like
Yeah,
in a way that you can have those sweet things that you were talking about, but like in a, like in an enjoyable, more not controlled way, but just in a way that kind of like suits you. So,
full way because both my parents are type 2 diabetic, and my brother is type 1. So there's diabetes in the family, and my dad's always been a big chap. My mum has become bigger since COVID. She's older now, she's 81, and she's not as active. And she has put on a lot of weight since COVID. And then it was discovered she had type 2. And for me, the thought of getting diabetes is like, no, that can't happen because I
mm,
want to give up my chocolate. I know it's slightly different with type 2 diabetes, but that was a big sort of impetus for me doing this because it's like, right, I've got to get this sorted before I get older. Because you can, I am slim, but that doesn't mean that you won't get type 2 diabetes. You can get it whether you're slim or whether you're larger.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So do you feel like that was the main thing that, I don't know, that gave you that oomph to take action and like try something new again? Or do you think, because I remember there were a few things that obviously we first spoke about. So do you feel like it was a variation of things, or was that kind of like the main drive to like, oh no, I do want to really focus on my health and things like that?
I think the main thing has always been that I like being slim, and I feel confident when I'm slim. And I didn't like the changes that were happening in my body. But it wasn't until I suppose I really thought about the dangers of type 2 diabetes
Mm,
that really gave me the push that I needed. Um, yeah, I mean, and I guess the realization, Beth, you're middle aged now. You might feel like you're 18 on the inside, but you're middle aged. So, you've got to start being sensible about it and being realistic about it.
mm,
Down the line, you're not going to thank your past self.
mm.
You
Yeah.
get to where you have type 2 diabetes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So back in October, if you can just kind of like cast your mind back to like six months ago, I know that you said that you were feeling like a certain way with like your belly and your thighs. Like, how do you feel that you felt like mentally, like in yourself, like just like confidence and relationship with food and things like that? Like, where do you feel like you were like back then?
I didn't like seeing myself in the mirror. We've got like a almost full length mirror in our bedroom, and I was looking quite regularly, like this thing in the morning, last thing at night, sort of sitting. And I used to have this mantra where it would be like, "Oh well, it could be worse, it could be better, but it could be worse."
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
oh, it could be better.
Mm,
Sometimes I'd look and I'd think, "Oh, it's not that bad." And other times I'd look and I'd be like, "Kiddo." And what I noticed about my thighs that this happens to women, they were becoming more, I don't know, not pointy, but almost like, when you have people who've got very, very large thighs and they're so wide, they kind of don't match the rest of the shape of your body. And I wasn't in a terrible, terrible position with that, but I was noticing that my thighs were sort of starting on that journey, and I was like, no, and they were starting to
mm,
get the gap between my thighs was getting smaller and smaller. I mean, I'm making it sound like I was the size of a mountain. I wasn't, but for
No,
me,
but it's how you felt in
yeah,
yourself, isn't it? Like not comparing to other people on their journey. I think
yeah,
for you, I remember you saying about your thighs and obviously like the progress you've made and everything. I think that was something that came up quite a lot was the change in your thighs. Like you felt a particular way about them.
I did. And I've also if things are not as tight when you get older. I do have a flat stomach, but if I stood sideways or if I was sort of bending down, the
Mm.
top would appear. And again, it's not that bad in the scheme of things, but the thighs started overtaking the muffin top. And it was just the muffin top and the thighs, the thunder thighs for me, the just annoying me. And I know that if you are holding a lot more fat and what have you, that's that. I used to tell people I was skinny fat, and people used to laugh at me and they say you're like a racing snake, Beth. And I'm like, well, yes, I am, but I'm skinny fat, and they didn't understand what I was talking about. But I know that's the thing. So
Mm. Yeah, and I think like what you said before as well, like I know that you've said a couple of times that um not compare myself with other people, but it is how you feel in you, isn't it? And I think like I have worked with women who they're kind of maybe told something by a friend or family like, oh, you don't need to like this, that, and the other. But it's like the way that you feel, like there's a massive, obviously, emphasis on that in the program because I want you to feel like your best, most confident self, healthy as well, obviously, but it's how you feel like you want to look in the mirror and feel like amazing about yourself, don't you? Rather than having like those good and not so good kind of days.
yeah, and I am doing this for me. Sometimes I think to myself, well, nobody wants to see that, Beth. It's not that I'm going to get my legs out on display for the world to see. They're more flabby and wobbly than they ever used to be. But like you say, when you look in the mirror, it's what you see, and I am doing it for myself. And I want the way I feel on the inside to reflect what I look like on the outside.
Yeah, yeah, no, I love that. Okay, so how would you describe? I know that we've spoken a little bit about things that you've like tried in the past and they like weren't sustainable and things like that. So how would you describe the experience that you've had since then? So like since October, we're now, my God, how? I don't know, but coming into April, like how would you describe the experience that like we've had like so far on this journey?
Well, I can say for starters, it's the longest thing that I've ever stuck at. I mean,
Yeah, you said that a few times.
I am a loyal person in general.
Mm,
I guess, my loyalty has always been to chocolate. And,
yeah, yeah.
you know, I've given up crisps in the past for Lent. There's no way on this earth I could give up chocolate for anything,
Mm.
unless, my life depended on it, I suppose. But yeah, when I started, it was kind of just getting my head around having to work out not just the calories, because I knew how to do that. I'd done that in the past.
Mm.
Think about protein as well, introducing things like protein powder into some of the recipes. I discovered the best cheesecake that exists on the planet, which is the Biscoff cheesecake yogurt. I have got a student in year 11, and he, even to, now he'll go, why again? I'll be like, I love it. I said, why are you asking me? I'm going to give you the same answer. It's my favorite. I love it. So yeah, what was really nice about it was that not all the recipes are ones that I'm going to like, because there might be, I don't know, like barbecue sauce in one, or I don't know, like a curry, and that's not my cup of
Of
tea.
course, everyone has different
Yeah,
preferences. Yeah, yeah, 100%, yeah.
of the things that I know that there's something that I would eat, they're nice. And it's not just you're eating lettuce, you're eating things which, I am allowed to have something sweet, but it's sort of looking at things right. I've never eaten Greek yogurt before, ever. And now I have it like every week.
Mm.
And, being able to have the Biscoff sauce on top melted in the microwave, being able to have the Biscoff biscuits, finding clever ways to eat, to get protein into your diet. One of the things, I don't think that I'll ever go back to regular sausages. I think I will continue with chicken sausages. And that's another Brucey bonus, because I know that, obviously sausages are processed, but chicken is far, far healthier for you than pork. So now, and chicken sausages are just as yummy. To be honest, I
Yeah,
can't
I mean, I love them. They're so much like leaner. Yeah.
care. And they're really high in protein. And now I'm going to go down the route of probably just trying to have as much turkey bacon as I can because again, turkey is good for you. I'm not a massive fan of turkey, but turkey bacon tastes like bacon, which
Yeah.
blows my mind. Yes, and I have like the protein flatbreads, which are made by Warburton's. I don't know if I'm allowed to name drop companies, but hey ho.
It doesn't matter.
Protein bars, which are like a salty caramel flavor and things like that. And it's just discovering things which I would never have thought of trying before. I've rediscovered a love of bananas. Like one of the things I might have for breakfast, I had it for breakfast this morning, is natural yogurt, which is high in protein, with raisins and bananas. And it's just really yummy and it fills you up. And I've discovered which supermarkets have the best high protein stuff, which have the yummier stuff, which has the cheaper stuff. And yeah, I'm thinking about things in a much different way. And I'm the sort of person that I tend to eat the same kind of things week in, week out.
Mm.
Probably a cheesecake and whatnot. Like I love the what's it called? The toad in the hole with the chicken sausage
Yeah, yeah.
3 times a week, every week. It's lush with some gravy. So yeah, it's just sort of finding a way to enjoy food and but also get the protein in, the calories low, and not have to feel guilty. It is okay for you to have something sweet.
Mm,
Okay for you to have sausages, but just chicken ones.
yeah.
Yeah,
Looking at like making those healthier swaps, isn't it? I think that where people go wrong with diets, and I've been there my I've been there myself, is trying to restrict all of that stuff or like cut it out. And like you said, like being able to stick for it for maybe a few days or maybe even like a couple of weeks, but it's going to get to a point where you crave that food then so much because like you've missed it, like your mind, your body's missed it. And then like you say, you don't end up having the one chocolate bar then, do you? Because all of a sudden that overwhelming feeling of wanting that food kind of like overtakes you. And yeah, exactly. And then it's pressing that kind of fuck it button, isn't it? Like, because it's not, because you're having that Biscoff and that chocolate and things like that. It's like you say, like a sustainable, like you don't feel restricted or that anything's been taken away. It's just about looking at swaps and things like that instead.
I mean, with the skinny chocolate bars, there are ones that I really like. There's the whipped mint one and the whipped orange one. I
Mm.
could have more substantial amount in comparison to having a Galaxy, because Galaxy is my all-time favorite food. Well, chocolate. I tell people chocolate is my favorite food group, and they laugh at me. But there are people who eat to live, and there are people who live to eat, and I'm definitely in the live to eat group. I know that the food is fuel, but I just enjoy it. I
Mm.
enjoy
Which
it.
is fine. Like there shouldn't be any shame behind that either. Do you know what I mean? Like it's great.
And I'm more conscious now that I'm drinking more water. I've been trying. I only drink water at school where I work, and then I'll have like squash, and I've got the sugar-free squash that I get from Asda's, and I love it, and it's great. My husband loves it too, so I'm not having to buy one squash for him, one squash for me. Yeah, and then when I do cook things, he eats them as well.
Yeah.
So it's not that there are certain things that are only for me. Like I'll make the cheesecakes for myself. If he wants a cheesecake, he's perfectly welcome to make his own. But myself. But a lot of the stuff he can eat too. And one of the other things that I'm really liking is I'm not a massive fan of ribena because to me it's just like eating cardboard. But
Mm.
the bread, it's only 20 calories per like little.
Yeah, yeah, thing.
The extra mature cheese slices, the low fat ones or the regular ones, and it's delish. I'll have that for my lunch. I'll have two slices of cheese, bit of low fat butter. Bob's your uncle.
Mm. And it's something easy that, working in a school and doing what you do as well. It's something that you can have like quite easy, isn't it? You can throw it together quite simply, but still be hitting your goals and enjoying your food as well at the same time, which is obviously, it's all about navigating that. I think that, you're at a place now where you're kind of, I know the kind of the kids kind of joke a bit, but you
Yeah.
do have like your favorites and you're finding what works in different supermarkets, like you've said, and things like that. And that's probably something you just wouldn't have. thought about before. It's just kind of like a part of life now.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm a grazer, so
Yes,
will
yes.
I will have little and often
Mm,
to make that work too.
mm,
I actually went off bananas a while ago, but I'm actually quite enjoying them more now. And I think having them in yogurt helps. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
with the high protein natural yogurt is really yummy as well. We,
Mm.
I didn't think that would go, but it did. So,
It's kind of like banoffee pie kind of vibe, I think, because it's like creamy, like Greek yogurt's quite creamy and stuff as well, isn't it?
yeah, well, actually, if you could ever find a banoffee pie recipe, that would be fabulous. I
Ooh,
love a
maybe that's something I could like look into doing.
I'm
Mm.
not cream, but if there's like a Greek yogurt version of it, that would be
Yeah,
awesome.
that's not a bad idea. Have you had the banana split?
I don't think, no, I don't think I've got that recipe.
That's nice. I'll send you that because that could be like a good taster. But that's really nice, that is. It's very nutritious as well, high in fiber, so it's good for the gut.
Is that with cream or with Greek yogurt?
No, I think Greek yogurt.
Yeah, okay.
So creamy though, Greek yogurt, isn't it? I love it. I'm the same as you. But you know what else is like really exciting about having this conversation with you is that every, client that like I've interviewed they've all been in like that fat loss phase. And
Hmm.
just for everybody listening, like Beth has gone through like the habits phase and she's gone through the fat loss phase. And I just love this part of the journey. I really, really do because basically what we're doing now is what we call a reverse diet, where basically Beth, week by week, obviously based on progress that I'm monitoring and things, is going to be eating a little bit more food and more food. And we're getting her up to maintenance. So we're doing it in like a really controlled way. So that Beth obviously, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like keeps hold of those amazing results that she has achieved, but eating more food. So
Yeah, and I more food. And but so I think I can't remember how heavy I was at the beginning, 56, 57 kg or something. And I managed to get it down to about 52. And then
mm,
the thigh gap is bigger. Like if you look at the initial photos and the now photos, it blows your mind. But I said to you that I was still dropping, and then I seemed to sort of go up again. But now I'm dropping again. I'm down to 51 something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to fade away. More food, it's awesome.
But this is the amazing thing is because obviously we've got check-in tomorrow, which is like my favorite day of the week. But based on your progress and everything, like if your weight keeps doing that, it's good in a way because you're adapting to those new calories, and it means that when that happens, we can just give you more again. So it is like a really good thing. And then obviously then we'll get to that place where we can start thinking about weaning you off tracking and intuitive eating. You made me laugh on the Zoom last week where like your takeaway from it was just like, oh my God, yes, like we're not tracking forever. And I was like, no, God, no, we're not.
I genuinely didn't know that. I thought I was going to have to track
No.
life, and I was like, okay, I'll do it if I have to. But because I've got weighing scales. Like my sister-in-law bought them for me, little electronic ones, like, a few years ago. Because I was old school and I used like the one with the little sort of box on top of it, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah, that you, yeah.
But electronic scales are much better; they're more accurate. And I take it with me to school every day. Now I do cooking with my students, so if I have my weighing scales there, they don't question it. But I will be in my classroom having a break, and I'll be peeling my banana, and then I weigh my banana. And this is a top tip for anybody who might struggle with this, because I used to think, right, when I was at home and I was having an apple, I would cut the apple up, then weigh it, then eat it. Now you can't. Well, I could feasibly do that in school, but knives. So I thought, right, I know what I'm going to do. So I weighed the apple, ate the apple,
Yeah, and then the rest back in the, yeah, I knew you were gonna say that.
because I was kind of just probably giving myself more calories. I was like, do you know what, Beth? No, you don't have to do this. You're a teacher. Just put the core on and then take it off. It's not hard. Yeah.
But that's really interesting because I think talking about, accuracy of calories and things like that, because it is at the moment important. I think it'd be really great for people to kind of like hear that, especially, clients in the program or anybody on like a health journey, just because people probably put in like a large banana or like a small apple when there's more and stuff like that because it's kind of like easier, but it's not going to be as accurate as clearly like what you're doing with your fruit.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, yeah, it was almost like one of those little light bulb moments. And I was like, oh yeah, I can actually be super accurate with my apple.
Mm.
Thankfully, I've been able to hide when I'm weighing stuff. But at the same, no, I think one time one of my colleagues noticed, and she's doing Weight Watchers, and I'm at that stage of my life and my age now where I'm like, well, it's what I'm doing, and I'm just honest with people, and they're really interested. Um, and also they're sort of like, well, why are you dieting, and why are you doing this? Um, I'll explain. But it doesn't matter to me what other people think, whether they think, no, you shouldn't be doing this. I'm like, well, sorry, you don't have to live in this body and you don't have type 2 diabetes in your family. So I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah. And I think that's the goal, isn't it? To just focus on, like you always say about the whys, why are you doing this?
Yeah, it's important. Yeah.
That in mind.
A
And
good, deep, meaningful why, isn't it? And but also like people showing an interest, like that's one thing, particularly friends and family and things like that. But I don't feel like you should have to justify or explain yourself to anyone why you're making choices to, live like a healthier lifestyle anyway. Like I do feel that people like to have opinions and tell you things when you've not even asked for it, and it
yeah,
wind me up.
and this is why I'd never want to be famous because I'd be literally replying to every troll. I will. But, yeah, but like I've not gone so far as to take one with me when I go to a restaurant or a cafe or whatever.
No, 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 and I wouldn't want you to do that either because yes, there's being accurate when you're on a journey like this. However, as you know, I'm all about balance and living your life and also being able to enjoy social events like um, you know, just spending time with your mum and going for a meal today like you have done, like Mother's Day, isn't it? So like it's it's obviously sometimes like prioritizing. Like if you were to, do that every single, week and not track and things like that, then obviously like progress is going to be affected. But once in a blue moon, it's so much more important to prioritize like experiences and being present with friends and family because otherwise I don't feel like I'd be doing my job properly. Like if I was saying like, oh yeah, you need to go to the restaurant, but you need to make sure like to the like again, that's taking the joy out of it. So
I mean, the one thing I have done, so it can be a bit difficult sometimes because my husband will, like on the weekend, he'll be like, "Oh, I'm gonna cook something," or I'll come home from work and need to cook something, and he doesn't like in my mind. I'm like, right, well, I'm gonna have this for tea, and sometimes I've just eaten what he's given me because I don't want to upset him because he's done a kind thing. Uh, but he's like fried eggs in the morning. I do not like runny yolks at all. So he has to do them sunny side down and they're like coagulated to within an inch of their life. Given me like these eggs that he's done, and then I get my weighing scales and I'm weighing the eggs and I'm weighing them. He's like, "What are you doing?" So in that sort of situation, I'm like, "No, I will weigh them." I think he thinks I'm a bit bonkers, but I'm like, well, you're married to me. It's nothing you can do about it. Yeah,
I am bonkers and that's that. But
that's
I
that.
think obviously you're kind of like at home as well for that sort of thing in your, little safe environment. So if you want to do that, then you can, can't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a bit different to, if you were to whip that out like in the middle of a restaurant or a cafe or something.
yeah. I invited you over for breakfast, and you'll be like, "Hang on a minute, I just got to weigh your eggs." They'd be like weirdo.
Oh gosh. I know that we've spoken about kind of like which like I suppose like phase you're in at the moment, but we've not really spoken about like your progress much. So obviously like that's just been phenomenal if I can get my words out. And you really have, really been showing up for yourself in more ways than one as well. I just want to say like yes, communicating with me and, taking on all the advice and everything and doing your check-ins, but also like coming to the Zooms and things like that. I think, people that do that, they are um beneficial. So I think you showing up to those as much as you can, you're just showing up for yourself again, like in more ways than one, if you
Yeah,
see what I
I'm
mean.
silly dancing, like when we've done the challenges and things. I think it was the one where you were dancing to your favourite song, and at the moment, I'm really loving Post Malone. I Had Some Help, and
Yeah, yeah.
I just like danced around like an absolute numpty. And there was another one where I was dancing with my dog,
That
so
was so cute.
he didn't think so, but yeah, it was.
No, yeah, it's kind of like I don't know. I think with that one, I just wanted to really get that message across that I want you to find joy in movement. Like that's what it was all about because I see so many people doing these things that they're like, oh, and I think no one's going to be motivated all the time. So I think sometimes, like, if you've got, whatever planned, like, sometimes you just got to go and, like, just go and get it done. You'll feel better after. But I do know a lot of people that do, programs or go to the gym and stuff, and they really don't like it. And for me, again, the same with food. They might be able to stick to that for however long. But if you're not going to enjoy something, you're not going to sustain it long term. So what's the point? So that it was just nice because it's just like, some of you do dance, swimming, badminton, running, like walking, like whatever it is. I love hearing about all these like different forms of movement because again, that's another massive part of or like the message that I like to relay in my program is I want you to move in a way that makes you feel good, not, oh, I've got to, because you're not going to enjoy it then or get like, do you know what I mean?
I'm not a sporty person, but I
Mm,
know asked, to help with my mental health, I will walk. I mean,
mm,
ever since I was little, if I was stressed, my mum said to me when I had whooping cough, and I don't remember having whooping cough, but I must have been about two or something. She said I would pace round and round the room and I wouldn't let anyone touch me. So obviously, walking for me is a way of sort of processing.
mm.
I'm very happy to go walking, but ask me to go and run a marathon, not going to happen.
Yeah. And walking, it's so beneficial. So I love, and I think that just shows what you just said there. Like walking is obviously great for um obviously like the physical health benefits, but as well, like you've just said, like if that's your way of processing, like mentally having that space. I'm the same. If I'm feeling overwhelmed or stressed, if I go for a walk, even a small walk, I feel so much better after. Like clears your head
It's
for
just
me anyway.
hormones, isn't it? Is it serotonin or whatever it is? I'm not sure.
Mm, mm.
That and just in the fresh air, because if you get cooped up in the
Being outside.
air,
Mm.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, no, I love that. Oh, I love that. And obviously, I know we've spoken a little bit about the way you were feeling before and your thighs and things like that. So why don't you like share with, the progress that you've made there? Because I remember when it was a few weeks back and I sent you your pictures, and again, the first thing you're just like, oh my God, my thighs, look, my gap's back, and this, that, and the other, and it was just like, oh.
When you you see yourself day in day out, you don't notice those subtle changes
No,
like
you don't see it, do you? Yeah.
or you know getting older. You don't notice these things because you see it every single day. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think sort of looking the gap was really a big thing.
It was for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I've noticed now that my legs are more instead of sort of like being like that, they're more like that again, and I like that. And I don't want to waste away, but at the same time, I sort of think no, it was important that I did that, that I was focusing on my fat uh, percentages or content or whatever, and I'm never going to take a Ozempic, so I
Mm.
want something that was that was enjoyable and doable.
Yeah, yeah. I think the thing with Ozempic that I really struggle with as obviously like a health, nutrition, mindset coach is I've spoken with a lot of women who now suffer with different, like health problems
Yeah,
because of that road that they went down, feeling like that's the road that they had to take. And gosh, all sorts like anxiety and depression and things that you wouldn't even think would be side effects. So it it's just really difficult because it's kind of everywhere at the moment, and it just makes me a bit worried for people, if I'm
Yeah,
completely honest.
because I see things popping up on, my social media all the time, like
Mm.
ketones, they were a big thing, like raspberry ketones, and then you have like these patches and I guess implants, goodness knows. I get it. People are busy. People want to be able to enjoy the life that they're used to doing and find an easy way. Liposuction, it's just like, what's my
It's
quick.
the quick fix again, though, isn't it? It's wanting something then and there and like doing whatever it means to get there. But how does it feel for you then, knowing that that you've decided to go on this journey for yourself and that you're doing it in like a sustainable way? So when you actually get to that place, that
I,
you will literally stay in that place rather than going like back and forth and stuff.
I feel, proud of myself that I've done it in a natural way. Because
Mm.
if I'm not a sort of person that would have taken that sort of medication or what have you to do it, because I know that it's not natural. It's not the sort of way that you should do it. It's a quick fix, and it's, who knows, like with people used to say decades ago that smoking was healthy. Doctors used to endorse
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
what it does now. I mean, you think about thalidomide and all the things that happened with that. You're like, no, there are things which are blatantly right, blatantly natural, and that's the best way to do it. And also, it's best to take your time, because if you change things in your body very, very quickly, it can actually have effects on your body. Like people who lose a huge amount of weight and they end up with all that excess skin and so on and so forth. So I feel proud of myself for doing it the right way. I also feel kind of, I guess there's a part of me that still feels a little bit like, am I going to be able to maintain this? But I guess, like with muscle memory, because I've been doing it for so long, I guess a part of me will be like, yeah, I'll just sort of click into it naturally, rather than having to spend it for 2 weeks. You're then going to go straight back to what you were used to doing for a long time before that.
Mm.
A while, you're going to be like, yeah, well, it's Greek yogurt, not a Cadbury's cream egg yogurt, and you know that you can have like a nice version of. I mean, I remember one of your recipes is a blinking Cadbury's cream egg cheesecake, and I couldn't believe it.
So good. So good.
Find one, so I had to use a Freddo, but it was fine.
Yeah. But again, obviously, like the amount of progress that you've made so far, the wonderful thing of one-to-one is that I'm going to be obviously there to support and guide you through the next phases and all that kind of thing. So, and I know that we're, doing some mindset work with behaviors and things like that as well. So that's all going to like help with the long term. But no, you're absolutely right. Like I say, I think these things that are out there as well, like suppressing appetites and things like that. Like my question is like, what happens when you stop eating or taking whatever then? Like what happens then?
Yeah, it's like a crash diet, isn't it? And then people put it all back on.
Exactly, exactly.
Issues with people having a negative relationship with food, a toxic relationship with food, and then you end up people being bulimic or what's the other one? Anorexic, hanky brain. You have people sort of like keep hiding things, keeping secrets, because I was young in the 90s, and it was the sort of heroin chic sort of look, Kate Moss, that kind of thing. And then the only thing,
Horrendous, isn't it? When you actually look at magazines and
yeah,
even something came up the other day and it was showing a lot of the stuff, little snippets of films that I grew up watching. And I was watching it like, oh my, because as a kid, you don't realize. You obviously just kind of you just take everything in, don't you? You don't question. But now watching it, it's like, oh my gosh, no wonder so many women have, struggled with body image in their relationship with food and things like that. And I'm glad that you've touched on that really, because again, that's something that I'm like really passionate about is helping, build that nice, calm relationship with food again, because so many women struggle with their relationship with food. So,
do, and they think they think obviously there are times when people are not eating as they should, and it is a personal choice. But then there are also often lots of the factors that cause people to have problems with food or problems with their body. It could be, like a mental health thing. It can be because of some trauma that's gone in their lives. It can be because of some sort of genetic thing.
Mm.
You can't just say, oh, well, strictly speaking, if it's just a matter of eating too much, I should be 10 times bigger than I am. I'm lucky in that I've had the genetic makeup that I have.
Mm.
But then somebody else will say, oh, you have to look at a burger and I put on a pound. We're all different. And, you can't just say one size fits all. Everybody's got to do what is right for them and be sort of spoken to and encouraged in an empathetic way.
Mm. Yeah, no, definitely, absolutely. What would you say that like your favorite thing is about, the program and us working together? Or is it just like a combination of, the support and the community or
It is a combination of things, but I do very much like the community is really nice. And obviously, you don't meet people face to face unless we have like a meetup or what have you. And to a certain extent, you only see people as a name, but you do get to kind of know a little bit about people because somebody will mention, they've got a child or what.
Mm. Yeah, little snippets of the life sort of thing. Yeah, yeah.
What I like about it is that it's real. It's not sort of saying, right, well, you're going to have to completely change your life so that you're completely miserable or you'll never get the body that you want.
Mm,
It,
mm.
you can enjoy, you know, you can enjoy dieting, you can enjoy taking care of your nutrition. And I think that a lot of people, when people are on things like Weight Watchers, I don't know if they still do it anymore, but I remember when I was younger, people used to talk about sins. And
Oh, no, they still do it, Beth. It's Slimming World. Yeah, it's horrendous.
like so many sins, and it puts such a negative spin on something. Yeah, of course, you're going to have foods that are not good for you, and too much of them is not good for you, like foods laden with MSG or what have you. But to sort of tar a particular food, it can kind of set up like a mental trigger in your head, like
Absolutely.
you're a person if you eat chocolate.
Exactly, like a sin, like that word is literally associated with doing something bad, isn't it? So, like you just said, if you have something that's a sin or whatever, there's that you make that probably subconsciously that connection that that food is now bad, quotation marks bad, and yeah, like you say, it really can affect your relationship with food. There are so many women in the program and that have been in the program before that have come to me after Slimming World, after Weight Watchers, and their relationship, not just with food, but also the scales,
Yes,
it's
yeah,
not in a good place at all.
yeah. And
Again, because of that one weighing a week kind of thing, and then, going and getting your chips and burgers after, like.
are they not allowed to weigh in between?
I don't think not allowed, but they're not, I don't think they're, I mean, I did Slimming World, God, like a lifetime ago, and you weren't told to like weigh in the week or anything like that. It was very much like that's your weigh-in day. And
Mm.
sometimes, and this is, I have so many problems with it. I could talk about it for hours, but some of the weigh-in groups were in an evening. That
Yes,
makes sense. So when you've literally obviously got like more like food and water and like in the day and yeah the weigh-in would literally be in the evening. So people would try and eat as least as possible before going to that weigh-in where the lightest clothes they could possibly find as well. And then obviously feel so hungry that
yeah,
they go and eat whatever after it. So it's just again creating that
yeah.
really restrictive overeating cycle that people feel so stuck in. And I just feel like it was kind of um personal experience is I don't know how to like I've got to be careful with what I say, I suppose,
It,
really.
it pits people against each other because it's like, oh well, I've lost 2 pounds this week. I've lost 4. I've only lost half.
Yeah, and it's yeah, exactly. And
It's about you. It's your journey.
it was quite condescending as well. Like if you, and obviously as women, we have hormones and periods. I know I teach all about that in the program, but it'd be very much like, So what happened this week? Like, really? Yeah, I know. So it just, and I found out in more recent years, I had no idea until after I became a coach of this fact that, so obviously, qualified nutrition mindset coach over here, they they don't have any qualifications. So the ones that run the group don't actually have any qualifications. And I'm just, how how is that allowed to like,
Is it like a franchise? Do they like have to pay a certain amount to Weight Watchers or Slimming World, and then there's pressure on them to get X amount of people to come to their class or whatever? Do they have to sort of like invite people, or is it all done for them but through Slimming World and Weight Watchers? Because then it seems like there's pressure on the person running the group, and that's why they're sort of
it's a good
belittling.
question. I don't have the
It
answer. I don't know.
sounds to me like that. You know, like people who sell to Avon or whoever,
Yeah. I know what you mean.
like that. They're sort of maybe they're competing against other Slimming World or Weight Watchers classes, and then there are prizes for the ones who's the most weight. That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, to be honest.
Right. But there were obviously like no taken measurements, pictures. It was all focused on the weight. And I think that's why a lot of the women that I work with, when I'm saying the scale should be the last thing that we look at,
Mm,
it's
yeah,
it's obviously going to take time to rewire that
I,
because it's been the sole focus for so many years. Like that's not just gonna go like just like that, is it?
yeah. I
It
think
takes a bit of work.
that's the big message in society as well, isn't it? You know, it's all about sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even in the past, like you're saying about it being the evening weigh in.
Mm.
Like weighing myself in the evening. I avoid it like the plague. I much prefer to weigh in the morning.
As you should, because
Because it can be if you are worrying about those numbers, you weigh in the morning, you weigh in the evening, you're like, whoa, what's happened?
they'd be totally different, and understandably so, because you will have eaten food and drank water. And even if you weighed and went and drank a litre of water and weighed again, it obviously wouldn't be the same because you've just consumed a litre of water. But yeah, obviously, like it's I wish, more realized how kind of toxic it is, but it's a work in progress, isn't it? It's a work in progress. So
A movie about it one day with some famous actor or actress playing some person who exposed Weight World and Weight Watchers and Slimming World. Who knows?
yeah. Oh, no, this has been a really lovely chat. I've really enjoyed this. It's been really nice. And what I ask everybody, at the end of the podcast slash YouTube, is what would you say or what advice would you give to someone who isn't quite sure about reaching out? Because sometimes, and I spoke with a client not too long ago, and she said that for so long she kind of wanted to but didn't because she was a bit kind of scared and things like that. And then obviously wish she had just done like when she first wanted
Yeah.
to. So like what would you say to someone who's maybe thinking about it but is a little bit nervous maybe to like reach out?
I'd say that it's like no other program out there because it's not about hating on you and belittling you and making your life miserable because the food is so gross. It's about being able to enjoy food, and it's okay to enjoy food. And obviously there'll be times where you mess up. There'll be times where you'll have stuff at moments and you'll gorge on chocolate like I have done, but you don't feel like you know and I was nervous to tell you that I gorged on chocolate, but at the end of the day, you're not there to sort of come down on us like a ton of bricks. You're there to encourage us and to get alongside us and support us. And then sort of say, right, well, okay, that was yesterday. Today's a new day. We're going to come up with a plan to help you.
Yeah, and it's navigating through that, like you say, with a plan because um yeah, like you said, I know it can be difficult, but I think you've always been open and honest and stuff, and that's enabled me to support and guide you as a coach because you've been so open about things, even if it's not necessarily like comfortable to talk about. We've now obviously got like different measures in place that's gonna help you rather than, sit like I would never want you to like sit on a question, and as you know, like I love answering questions, but I would
Yeah.
never want you to like sit on a worry or a question or anything because it's all about having that conversation and then working through it together. So yeah, no, I'm glad that you said that. That's good.
Mm.
That's good. Is there anything else that you wanted to like? I know that we could probably just keep on talking, but I asked you, I know that if you had like half an hour and it's already like an hour in. So I'm gonna wrap things up now, but is there anything else that you wanted to like add before we, wrap things up?
No, I think I'm good, but I didn't know it was an hour because I haven't, the time's not showing on my phone. And yeah, I've got no clock in the room. So I didn't.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
If you had plans at 5, I've screwed up.
House for it now, but I was like, it does feel like it's been slightly more than half an hour, but an
Yeah,
hour.
it has been. But you did say right at the beginning before we started recording that, you can talk for Wales, and I'm exactly the same. So, oh no, thank you so much for joining me. Honestly, I know that obviously, like we, get to talk all the time anyway, but it's been just really nice to hear how, you're feeling and just reflecting on how well you're doing as well. Like, I just think that's just so nice to have, like a conversation about it. So I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. It's been nice.
Yes, I've got 2 hours to get in my weekly form because I only just started it before we came on.
Oh, bless you.
I'm terrible. I'm like, oh, it's all right. I'll finish it after. Well,
Yeah, yeah, get that done. And then obviously I'll be speaking to you
yeah,
tomorrow with that feedback and stuff as well.
cool. All right then.
No, honestly, it's been so nice, and you should really be really proud of how far you've come. And I'm equally proud as excited for like the rest of the journey together as well. So, but yeah, no, thank you for obviously being here and taking the time to talk to me. And obviously, everybody else who is like watching or listening, if this has, if you've liked it, obviously give it a like. But if it's resonated with you in any way and you kind of feeling at that place, maybe how Beth was feeling back in October, and you wanted to, kickstart your health and fitness journey. Like Beth said, honestly, it is the most enjoyable experience for weight loss that you will have, I hope. So yeah, if you don't follow me already, I've actually changed my name now on Instagram to Jodie B Nutrition because it aligns with me better, it makes way more sense. So yeah, like I say, if you've got any questions at all, just shoot me a message. But yeah, other than that, thank you for watching, listening, and thank you, Beth, for being here. And I will obviously speak to you tomorrow.
Hey.